Welcome to Spiritually Imperfect, the show where the metaphysical meets the practical. This is your space to explore the mysteries of the universe, embrace spiritual growth, and connect with the energies all around us. No one spiritual journey is perfect, but that's the beauty of it. Hosts Mike and Jen bring their unique blend of perspective, humor, and heartfelt nature to every episode. Whether encouraging, facilitating readings, or diving into exploring mediumship, energy healing, or searching for clarity, Spiritually Imperfect is a place to where discussions of the collective experiences that we all share comes to the surface. Now, here are your hosts of Spiritually Imperfect, Michael Christopher and Jennifer Lee.
Hello, Michael.
We're back.
It's been a while, huh?
It's been like, what, 6 years since our last show?
No, it hasn't been quite that long. But it feels like it, doesn't it? Feels like it's been a while. I was actually a little bit nervous today because it's the first time we've done this in a long time outside of just our groups.
I know. I'm just going to be my normal self. So take it or leave it. Here we are. But yeah, it's been a while. It's been a bumpy, I don't know how many months. I kind of quit in June and kind of just ran away from everything. And it's been a slow road back to this.
To getting back.
But yeah, here we are again.
It happens. Sometimes I think we need to take those breaks.
Yeah. But yeah, we're on a different network now. Kelly invited us and we jumped at it, and here we are.
Hi, Jess.
Spiral Network.
Yes.
So yeah, hello everybody. So if you're new and you've never seen us before, let us know you're new. To everybody that's put up with our shenanigans in the past, thank you for being back, Jess. Hello,
I see
Rita,
Jess,
Joni.
Rita. I haven't seen it shared into my group yet, so I don't know if Kelly's having trouble or not, but
oh, there she goes.
So we'll wait and see. So I apologize for looking at my phone. I'm trying to get this shared into my private group.
So yeah, welcome in everybody. We're just going to give it a few minutes and kind of get started. Kind of, I don't know, maybe talk a little bit about us and what we're all about to anybody that's new. So if you're new, kind of get a sense of who we are and where we're coming from with our work. Kind of trying to keep up with comments here. So anyway, we'll just jump in. So we've been working together now you're good with the dates, 2019?
2020? Yes, 28. Yeah, 2019.
Yeah, I think it was right before COVID and all that good fun stuff.
So 6 years.
Yeah, we've tolerated each other for 6 years.
I don't know how you've managed, but or I think that's me. I don't know how I've managed.
Yeah, I don't know how you managed. Ask Sheila the same stuff, but here we are. So the name of the show, Spiritually Imperfect, actually my wife came up with that when, long story short, we had to change our name from our previous show, which was, I don't even remember. What was it? Do you remember?
It was something we got in trouble for.
Yeah,
but I don't remember.
Right. Yeah.
Because of copyright.
So anyway, but when the name came out, Spiritually Imperfect, I'm like, there it is. I mean, that's pretty much everybody, right?
Absolutely.
It's about imperfection. And I can definitely say that with my work. I'm definitely probably not the stereotypical medium. And yeah, it's a long story. We'll talk about it some other time. But, my mediumship journey began in 2015. So it's been about 10 years. Really quick. Yeah, just dealing with loss, dealing with health issues kind of pushed me in this direction. And long story short, here we are. We're doing a show together.
Here we are. No Agenda. Thank you. M&S says No Agenda was the name.
That's Sheila.
Yes. Okay. Oh, hi, Sheila. Yes. No Agenda.
So yeah,
It's how we operate this show too. We have no
it
agenda.
pretty much is. We do not have an agenda here. And this show literally is about you in the audience. We generally don't have a topic of discussion. One usually presents as we start babbling like we're doing now. But we want this show to be about interaction with all of you. We want your questions. We want this to be interactive. We certainly don't have all the answers to a lot of the questions that get asked around the spiritual realm or what have you. But the whole purpose I feel for this show is just to create a space for people to have just a discussion. Yes, we're going to do readings too. That's going to be part of it. But a lot of times people don't have anywhere to go to talk about this. So it's kind of like an outlet, and everything's on the table. I can tell you for myself, I will answer questions based on my experience, based on research. If I don't have the answer, I'm going to tell you I don't know. And a lot of things I don't know. I'm right along with everybody else. And just this is a continual journey of exploration.
Well, it is. And again, we don't have all the answers. I don't think anybody does have all the answers. And I'm right there with you. I've been learning about 10 years. I've been doing this in this kind of capacity. I'm still learning, and I will always continue learning. So, and here's the other thing I say, my answer might change, right? I might have given you an answer 6 years ago, and my perspective is on it. And my perspective is different on it today. Because of experiences, because of interaction with spirit. Maybe I have a better understanding, and that's okay too. It's okay to change your stance on things as you learn and grow and understand a little bit better.
Definitely. I mean, I've gone up and down with my beliefs, at the very beginning. I do a lot of thinking on my own. There's so much information out there, and I've talked about this before, that especially if you're new to this, it can be overwhelming. Where do I begin? And my advice there is pick something that interests you. For me, it's been mediumship. Mediumship has been like literally the only thing I want to do. Yes, I do the psychic side or intuitive side, but mediumship has always been what pulls me to doing this work. And that's what I went after. And again, it's just been a constant state of learning and debunking and taking tools, if you will, that other people have shown me and adapting them to work for me, if that makes sense.
Well, I think it has to be that way because mediumship is so personal. And we've talked about this before. No two mediums really work alike. It has to be personal because that information that is coming in has to go through the mind of the medium. It has to go through our own mind. So it's going to be different for everyone. There's no cookie cutter approach to it.
Definitely is not. Those poor spirits that have to get through this to get something out of my mouth. I feel for them. I really do. So hello. So yeah, right before we jumped on, Jen asked if I had a topic, and I kind of do. And I kind of just want to touch on it because it's something I've been thinking about like the last week. So on my Facebook page, I asked, if you could receive only one message from somebody that has passed, what would you want to know? And what got me thinking about that question, because I contemplate this a lot for myself. When I'm communicating with spirit, they're telling me their story, if you will, through thought. And I kind of was trying to put myself in their position. Like, I'm there. What would I want to tell a medium to relate to my family? And I'm thinking, first, I'm the most boring person ever. I'm sitting here trying to think, what would I tell a medium to tell like Sheila or Chrissy or a friend of mine? And I'm sitting there, I was like, I have no idea. One I think would be, which is pretty common, is, hey, I'm still here. I believe that this is temporary, this physical experience, when we go back to spirit. So of course, naturally, I would want to tell them that I'm still here. I'm not there physically, but I'm still here. I survived physical death. I think that would be like my number one. And some of the answers that people put on the post, like Jess Walton, of course, you wanted to know what the winning lottery numbers were.
Don't we all?
Don't we all? So a lot of good questions. I probably won't go through all of them. Tanya Vitko, who follows us and is a good friend of mine, she said if they could do one thing differently when living, what would they choose and why?
Oh, that's a very interesting.
So yeah, so I think, and I have, there's been times during communication or mediumship sessions where somebody has come through with a regret. I wish I would have spent more time with my family and friends as opposed to working all the time, those type things.
Mm-hmm.
But I still go back to, I think people just want to know, you're going to learn right away, people, that grammar, English language is a struggle for me. So just get used to it.
It's for me too. We lose our words a lot.
But again, they want us to know that they're okay. We're still here. Yeah, and I just dove into the comments. So hello to Nancy, who's here. Let's just say hi. Nicole's here. Jeremiah's followed us for a while. Thank you. Michael's in. Hello, Michael. I try to catch your show, Michael, as often as I can.
There's Michael. There's Joni.
So yeah, with that said, again, how about you in the chat? What is something you want to know from your people? I can almost feel it. They just want to know, are they still around them? How do they let them know that they're there? And our job as the medium is to kind of listen and relay.
Interesting question. I would like to talk about that for a minute. Spirit comes through. Spirit comes through consistently. Actually, I think it's just our perception and our awareness of it that is inconsistent. Mm-hmm. That's the way I look at it, is that Spirit is always here. Spirit is always around. And we can always connect with them. I think for in being a medium, the consistency is in our practice, and that consistency is up to the medium. That is nothing that's like, Spirit has nothing to do with that. Spirit is always around, and we can always communicate with Spirit. So Ivy, I would say that maybe that's just something that could be something in your practice, in your awareness. But Spirit is always there. Now, are you considered a medium if Spirit has come through inconsistently? So I don't know. What do you think about that, Michael? I would say yes. Sometimes it's inconsistent for me. It really is sometimes.
Yeah, everybody has this ability. What you want to label it, it's natural for us to put labels on everything. Medium, psychic, intuitive, right? We're just spirit. That's how we naturally communicate when we're in the spirit world or back there. Mm-hmm. I like to think of it as, we're a spirit, we just have a body, right? So our soul is communicating with the soul of your person. So when those two energies come together, that's when the communication starts flowing. And I always say this, and it probably bites me in the butt, but mediumship is easy. We make it difficult.
Yes.
And the way we make it difficult is we have to train our mind to let go of the ego, to trust what we're getting, and just say what you're talk about what you're experiencing, whether you're feeling something, seeing something, hearing something. You just got to express what you're getting in that moment and not think about it. Because once you start to think about it, then your mind kicks in, and your mind's going to create probably a completely different picture as opposed to what's coming through. An example of that is somebody's coming through and they show me a body of water. Say, I see a lake. I have to just say, I need to talk about the lake. But if I give it a second, my mind's going to go, oh, they're showing me a body of water. I see a beach now. I see this whole scene of trees, and birds and blah, blah, blah. And the spirit person's like, no, man, just say the lake. They're going to know what they're talking about. Just say lake.
Just say
right?
what you see.
It's literally like that. You can't let your mind start to create this whole other picture, because that's when the message goes awry. So that's a long, complicated thing, but you just need to say or express what you're experiencing and practice it. It's like learning a language. If you lay off for a while, you can get a little bit rusty. You start to lose trust. You got to rebuild that trust. Okay, I need to talk about this. So
You've been there recently, Michael.
Oh,
I've been there myself a few times.
We go through it.
Yes, we do. We do. There's times that I think that we have to take those breaks. That doesn't make, and I don't feel like I'm any less of a medium because I'm taking a break.
No.
Not at all.
And there's this thought that if you stop doing mediumship, it's going to go away. No. It's a part of who we are. And it'll never go away. So that's a long answer. I'm long-winded. I'll just tell you that right now. But yeah, and like Rita's saying, she just needed to know that her son was okay and in a good place.
Right.
And that's another common question that's often asked is, again, are they okay? I've never heard a spirit person come through and say they're not okay. We're the ones that are not okay. They're still here. They still have us. It's just the physical part is not here. That's the hard part for us still in the living is learning to live without them physically here. But I am 100%, believe that they're here, and they will be. KB, how do people appear to you in heaven? So again, I'll break this down. So heaven is a construct of religion, right? So over there is no religion, right? It's just another plane of existence. So when they come through, I don't see physical aspects of a person. I sense that they were a female or a male when they were here in the living. So I don't see, unless they make it a point to show me a characteristic, it's not like somebody walked in the room and I can tell you what they look like. No, it's not how it works.
Right. It's not as if they are manifesting in front of us or next to us in physical form.
Yeah. It's just the way I work is I know I have a man here. Okay. And then I'll feel, different aspects of whatever they're sharing. Again, once their energy or soul blends with mine, everything about them is in there. But now you have to remember that the mind can only comprehend and process so much at a time. So I'll just get certain aspects of what they're trying to communicate. Maybe they're trying to tell me how old they were when they passed. Mm-hmm. What did they pass from? You name it. And again, it's not for me to kind of like prime them or ask them. They're going to tell me. They know their person sitting there. They know what to say for them to help or for them to be identified, if that makes sense.
You're right, Michael. A feeling. So Michael then says a feeling. The language of the universe is feeling.
Yep, and it's energy. So I've always said, and this is not my phrase. I think I can't remember where I heard it, but what a medium does is it takes energy and translates it into physical language.
Correct.
And with that translation, there's always going to be mistakes, right? We're not 100% accurate. No medium is. But we try our best to interpret what we're feeling or what we're sensing. And we try to give it physical language to interpret.
Energetic impressions is what I call it. that I'm translating, comes to me through this impression of energy that is that feeling Michael's talking about that then is interpreted.
Yep.
Let's see. I'm going to pop this question up here really quick. I keep being told by others with the gift that I too also have the gift. What can I do to be able to tune into it? So first of all, Jeremiah, we all have this ability. This ability, every single person is born with this ability. I often hear people saying, well, I was born with it. Of course you were. We're all born with it. We are spirit. And again, that's what we're doing. A soul speaking to soul, which is what we are. So Yes, absolutely. You have the ability. And one of the things that helped me to be able to tune into it was sitting with myself, was learning my own energy. Because only when I understood what my energy was, could I pick out what wasn't my energy that was coming in, right? I had to have that separation. I had to know what my own energetic field felt like. And not just when I'm sitting in a still space. I had to know what my energy felt like when I'm just outside walking, or when I'm going grocery shopping, when I'm angry. Like what is my energetic field feel like? Once I understood that, then I was able to understand what wasn't mine that was coming in. So that really is one of the best things that you can do. Another thing you do, start talking. Start talking. Start building a relationship with your spirit guides and with spirit. Start asking the questions and start trusting the answers that come to you. Again, it will feel like you're making it up. It will feel like it's coming from your own mind, that it's your own thought. But it absolutely has to be, because that energetic impression must go through your mind to translate, even to yourself. So it's trusting that. It's listening. It's, you can start by even taking notes. If you feel like you got a message, or you got some direction, or you got something, just take notes, watch it play out. But really start the conversation. Learn your own energetic frequency, and then just start the conversation when you feel like it's coming from, from somewhere outside of you. I don't know. What do you think, Michael?
And if you're feeling pulled, and I know, Jeremiah, we've read for you several times, and this comes up a lot, take a class.
Yes.
That way you're in a safe space, if you will, with other students. Truly, the one way you're going to know this is real is when you have somebody sitting for you and you get a message that's validated by the sitter.
Yeah.
If you keep it to yourself, you really don't know, am I making this up? Right. But when you have somebody that's sitting there and you're bringing through someone in spirit, and something comes through and you say it and they validate, that's an eye opener. That's when you really will know this is real.
Yeah. And that's the double-edged sword. You have to trust it to get the trust. Like you have to just say it. And then when that validation comes, then that faith and that trust builds. But I always tell my students the best way to learn is to just start doing it. It's okay if you're wrong. It's okay if you don't get it right. We have to get past that. No's are okay. Sometimes getting it wrong will actually improve your mediumship, because now we go back to the feel. Okay, I had that feeling. I translated it wrong. Now I understand what that feeling actually is. So that is just as important it's just as important to get it wrong as it is to get it right when you are developing, because that's how we learn. So don't be afraid of getting it wrong.
You're going to get it wrong. And it's not even really getting it wrong. You're going to misinterpret.
Yeah.
I always say you're going to misinterpret it.
Yeah. And just as always notice the random moments you think of someone who passed, because they are not random. They are around, and feel into it. Absolutely. Yes. We get signs our loved ones are around us a lot. And we tend to just, a lot of times we say, oh, that was a coincidence. Oh, start trusting those, start believing in those, start acknowledging those, and watch what happens. Watch what happens.
And while we're on that, people that are fresh in grief, who want the messages the most, they're going to have the most difficulty, but it's only difficult because it's the state of mind that you're in right now.
Right.
When grief is the most fresh, it's hard for your mind to let go of anything other than coming to realize that person is no longer here in the physical world. And people always say, I always hear it while I'm blocked, I haven't heard from them. A lot of times it's not that they're not there. It's just your mind is so laser focused on the grief. And I think it's natural for us we have to go through that grieving period, and adjust to that. And a lot of times when you're in that period, most of the time spirit will come in during your dreams. And I don't even call them dreams or visitations, because that's when your human mind's out of the way. The subconscious is now in charge. And that's when they come in, and that's, you'll know too. You'll know the difference between a dream and a visit, because if somebody who has passed comes to you in your sleep and you wake up in the morning and you still remember vividly that experience, that's how you know, because you've had a dream before and you wake up and it's evaporated. I cannot remember my dreams, but I certainly remember when I've had a visit, because I can still remember 20 years ago,
Yes. KJ says, I hope everyone had a decent Valentine's Day. You're welcome, Jeremiah. Hello, Bridget. Hi, Sharon.
Hello to everybody joining us. Welcome. So this is our first show here. So we haven't done a show together in a while. So if you're new, we've done a show before. It's been a long time and we're just getting back to it. So it's kind of like getting back in the swing.
Hi, Dawn. There's Kathy. Okay, so there's Stephanie. Sorry, I'm just looking back at these messages really quick, trying to see messages.
Stephanie, that's interesting, because that happened when my mother-in-law had a stroke. And while she was in that comatose state, she visited me. And it was the strangest thing, because I was like, this feels real, with the messages and everything, because she passed away. Well, she had the stroke a couple days after or before my wife and I's wedding anniversary. And one of the messages she came through with, I'm not passing on your anniversary. And there was other things. And my wife wasn't here at the time. She was down in town with her sister. So these messages came through and I was like, hey, this is weird, but I had this experience, and my wife validated all the messages. So yes, it's a definite thing where they're still attached to their body, but they can leave their body.
Yeah.
They haven't gone yet. But during that period, she was communicating with me.
Yes, that can definitely happen. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's at his end, Stephanie. It's just that when the dementia state, like Michael said, your mind is in a very different place, and so it's much easier, that telepathic communication that's happening. Mm-hmm. It just happens. Your analytical mind is out of the way. It doesn't necessarily mean he's at the end, although I will tell you that at the death doula, I can communicate towards the end because people's mind is in that state. So let's see.
Hello, Crystal. Yes, we're happy to be back too.
Yes.
It's good to be back.
Jacqueline, yes, I see you.
Yes. There. Hello, Jacqueline.
Thank you, Crystal. So Kathy is asking if we do human, animal, and human spirits. Absolutely. So animals are some of my favorite, and I want to talk about a black lab right now that's been in my awareness for about the last 10 minutes. And I say he because I do feel it was a he. So this is black lab that is on the other side, and I'm curious if anybody here can connect with that. Someone.
I love animals.
The animals. Yeah.
It's funny because you'd be communicating with human spirits and an animal show up and people lose their minds. Like, forget the human. Yeah. Let me hear from my dog.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Kathy. So Colleen, you can take the black lab. So this is a male black lab. He is on the other side. Oh, so this dog would be passed. Is your dog on the other side? Has your dog passed? Because this dog is definitely passed. So wait for Colleen. Joni, you had a black lab. Yes. Okay. So let me talk about it for a minute. This is where it gets with animals, and Michael and I have talked about it before. They have they have unique personalities, but there's also a lot of things about them that they all do the same. But I got to talk about this black lab right now and water. I see a collar that is frayed, that is soaking wet. There's something about this black lab with water. Actually, he liked water. He's telling me that he liked water. I'm going to leave that and see who can connect with that.
And typically, what's that? I said, typically what happens is once you start talking, then I start getting things too about the same.
Can you feel into?
I just kept this, as I'm listening, I just see this image of this dog, like would put his objects, bones, whatever, underneath these pillows. It's like that's where he would hide things.
That's okay, Colleen. That's okay. There's something about this dog and water. I'm going to leave this message here. There's something about this dog and water. I do feel like he is showing me water. He's actually showing me jumping in water, and there is a collar. This collar looks very well worn. I'm gonna leave that there. Somebody still has the collar. I see the collar is wet though. Hang on, just 1 second. He is also making me feel like he was beloved by you from a puppy. There was a mutual choosing here as a puppy. So I'm going to see if anybody can take that. Who else? Joni, can you take that? Hello, Jesse.
That's the thing too. When we're doing readings through the chat, it takes a little longer.
Crystal. It does. Okay, I'm just gonna leave this message here then. Okay, this is a black lab. He is making it's a he. He's talking about his love of water. He is showing me a collar that is frayed that somebody still has. I also see it, the collar wet. He's talking about spending a long time with his person. He's talking about from a puppy, a mutual choosing. I also feel that he lived a very long life. The number 16 comes to me. So you inherited your lab when your fiance died. Okay. So I don't know whose dog this is. I just know that he has been here for a while. So I'm going to leave this message. He says, thank you for a wonderful life. He was very, very loved. And he is aware of that. And again, he does show me the collar is actually hanging on a nail. Right to the side of a door. He is acknowledging that. I don't know. I was trying to see like what room it was. It almost feels garage or shed like, but I'm just going to say right inside of a door. Tanya, can you take this because he's not leaving. He just wants to say to you, thank you for a wonderful life. Thank you for loving me. And he says he is okay. Okay. I'm also seeing a paw print. There's a paw print of him somewhere that maybe you have kept. So he is acknowledging that. If that is your dog, you just had to put him down in June. Okay. So I'm just going to leave that with you with his love. And thank you.
And I'll just throw out the two things that I kept feeling over and over. Okay. Did he have a tooth missing? And he kept showing me his left leg. So I don't know if he had an issue with that. And again, he was showing me like images of him burying his bones under a pillow or hiding things under a pillow.
You're welcome, Tanya. When you talk about his leg, I actually feel it in my hip. So very interesting. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And thank you. Thank you for letting me read your dog. So this is part of being a medium, right, Michael? I know the dog is here. Nobody's claiming him. And so, but I have to keep going forward because I know he is here and I know what he is showing me. And sometimes on our end, it becomes a little bit frustrating, but I have to have that faith that he is here for a reason. So thank you for being open, Tanya, and thank you very much for letting me read for you this evening. And Michael. His hip was bad. Okay, yeah, as soon as Michael talked about his leg, I felt it in my hip. So I guess that was the long answer to can we read animals and humans? Yes, we can.
All right. So what other questions do you have? We can.
Oh, thank you, Kathy. Oh, I do too, Joni. When the animals come through, they're so pure and they're just awesome. Speaking about animals, I have just a quick story that I want to share with you because earlier we were talking about spirit being around and messages.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to a client of mine on the phone the other day. She's actually turned into a friend. So this was a friendship conversation. But we were speaking on the day that her son was laid to rest. I mean, we're years later, but the anniversary of that date. And we were talking about a couple of things. I walked outside and one of his signs is an owl. He loved owls. I walked outside and I'm not kidding you. I heard hoo, hoo, and I was like, what is happening? I've never heard an owl. And so I hurried and recorded it. I sent her a message and I said, the answer to your question, could there be any more validation? I just hung up from her and walked outside to this owl just going crazy. So those are the things that we need to pay attention to and validate. Spirit does know. Spirit knows. And I thought that was so beautiful that I was able to just call her and be like, there's an owl outside right now. Like, so those
Kathy,
are the things.
No, your dog is not alone. We're never alone on the other side. And we have family that is there that may not be here at this time. So we're never alone. Your pets are never alone. And usually what happens when I'm sitting for a mediumship session is at some point the animals start coming in, right? So they'll come in with the person that's on the other side to let you know that, hey, your pet is with mom, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
And they just barge their way in because I'm talking to mom and all of a sudden here's a dog or here's a cat with mom, so no, they're never alone.
In a visitation dream, would someone be able to alter their appearance, different hairstyle, different way? So interestingly enough, they could alter their appearance to different ages. So maybe they will come in a visitation dream to you as a younger version of their self that you would remember, or, I've never actually heard of them altering their appearance to be unrecognizable. I guess that's what I want to say. I've never heard of that, but I do know people, and I've had experiences with it myself in visitation dreams where their appearance is altered, sometimes age, sometimes clothing style, but they're still very recognizable. Not only physically recognizable, but our soul recognizes them. So I hope that answers your question. It's yes, but also I don't feel, or I've never experienced or heard of them altering their appearance to be unrecognizable.
No.
I don't know, Michael.
And the way I look at it, I'll start with the research that it's like almost on the other side, they can adapt whatever persona they want, but it's still, who they are because we identify each other through our essence. You can never hide your true self, right? So for instance, very common is if somebody passed later in life and they were very ill, or, how someone typically is when they're really old, when they come through, I can still feel it's mom, but she may present in her 20s. And what they're trying to convey is, I am not that person that was laying there in that state when I physically, when I left the physical world. So that's a message in itself, is they're in the prime of their life, if you will, on the other side. That's not them. So whatever, whether it was a mental illness, physical illness, whatever they had here, that doesn't go with them on the other side. So it's
Correct.
a way of just conveying a message that they're good.
Yes. Oh, Crystal, I love that. She says when her mom was close to passing, her kitten came to visit her, kitten who was on the other side. I see that quite a bit in sitting with those who are crossing to the other side. So I think that's beautiful. And again, that's comfort. That's the power of, that really is the power of spirit, you guys. Just that comfort, that I am here. And I think that's so beautiful. I love when the animals come.
Jesse, yes, that's how, oh my God. So I'll read Jesse's comment here. He said he had a childhood dog that passed years ago, and while asleep, visited him in a form of an orb, jumped out onto the bed and came with another spirit dog. Yeah. We had to we've had boxers over the years, and one of them that we put down, it was maybe 2 days after we put him down. He used to come into our room and just run into the side of the bed, and the bed would shake. 2 days after he passed, we had that experience. We're like, oh my God. So that was him visiting us. So they're definitely around.
Yes, they are. They are. So I can also connect with pets that are still living. And yes, and say I believe Michael can as well, which is really fun. I just had the opportunity to do that a couple of weeks ago, and it was really, really cool. I was able to connect with all of our dogs and their personalities, and they were telling me things, and she was like, oh my God, just laughing.
And the thing is too, it's a phobia for me when I communicate with animals, because I in my mind, I send them the same messages I send, people that have passed. It's like, you got to give me something specific about your personality, because like we already mentioned, pets are going to be so similar. They're going to have similar mannerisms. So I tend to say, give me something that stands out about you, and they usually do.
Sometimes I feel that way too, Kathy. Animals are just so pure, right? Just the unconditional love all of the time.
They're always excited to see you.
They
Humans,
are.
Not so much.
And they're not judging. They're just,
Cats judge. Cats will stare at you and judge you.
Cats do judge.
Cats are little assholes at times.
Cats do judge.
Ours was. I don't.
Yeah, you're right, Kathy.
So any other questions? I know this hour is going to go by very quick. We didn't get to too many readings today, but it's like, again, it's our first show. So we're kind of just like getting back to being used to being on here again. But we will include these in our shows. Yeah, usually, Joni, pets will see spirit around you.
Yeah. They're very aware. They are very perceptive. Animals are, and very aware. When there's something in their energetic field that doesn't belong to that space, they know. They pay very close attention to that. Yeah, so she could be.
I'm just scrolling back. What? Go ahead.
Did you want to talk about what we were going to do?
What were we going to do?
After the show.
Oh.
Did you want to talk about that and how that's going to work out?
Well, so if whoever follows me on Facebook, I put in the comments when I posted about the show that each week we're going to pull somebody from the chat, and we're going to just immediately after the show, we're going to pull you into this chat on StreamYard, and we're going to kind of do a 15-minute reading with you one-on-one or two-on-one. So Jen and I will both do a reading for you. They're going to be completely random, so we'll just kind of go with what we feel towards the end here. And I know like Kelly's in the background, and Kelly can put a link in the chat for you to click on, and then that puts you backstage, and then this will be after the show is off the air.
Yes, don't click on it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't click on it.
We'll only take the person that we select. So, but we're going to try to do this every week, or every show, I should say, because we don't do the show every week. So yeah, that's the plan.
Kayla says manifesting.
Manifesting. I'm just kind of going back through the comments. I don't think we missed any questions. We do have a few minutes left, so if you have anything you want to throw on here, question-wise.
Thank you, Carla. It's nice to be back on.
Jackie, unfortunately, yes.
Yes.
I've dealt with a lot. I've had a fair share of people that have crossed themselves over in that manner. And usually I'm trying to word this delicately, but yes, they're one of the first thoughts that is sent is they wish they would have worked through their issue. Because they don't escape it when they go over the other side. They still have that lesson that they have to work through because that's what they want to accomplish or learn while they're here. So even though they left the physical world, and again, this isn't punishment, there is no punishment on the other side, but they still have to go through the process of learning that lesson. And at the same time, they experience what they left behind. They get to experience what people feel about that situation, if that makes sense. There's Amy.
Hello,
Amy.
Hello, Amy. I see Andrea there. Andrea's popped in. Kathy, so I wouldn't say that they fight. Like, it's not like spirit is just, when we open up to read, at least for me, it's not a bombardment or spirit fighting. I mean, I can feel spirit around when I open my awareness to the audience or whoever it is, and to spirit, but generally, no, they're not over there on the other side fighting. I just go to what I feel the strongest, as far as, if there's a couple energies, I'll just go to the strongest one. A lot of times, well, not a lot of times, sometimes two will come through together, and I will allow them. Might be a grandmother and a grandfather, might be, and they can just come in. But no. And also some people feel, I've had people ask me that question, if that is all day long in my head. No, absolutely not. Can you imagine that?
I talk to myself all day.
Yeah,
so
I know what you're saying, Kathy. No, spirit is not pushy. Okay, there's always an exception to the rule, but for the most part, spirit is not pushy. I have had some situations where spirit has been pushy, but again, that was me. I was not paying attention. I was not being aware. So that was a way to get my attention. For the most part, no.
They set themselves up. They worked it out on the other side who's going to come forward first. I may pick up on different personalities as because I don't see them, but I, for instance, may be talking to Dad, and all of a sudden now I feel about this person, he's showing XYZ, and they're like, no, that doesn't sound like Dad, but that sounds like my brother. So again, that's just, they're all here. When you sit down for a session, those people you're connected with are there with you in that moment. So sometimes you can get a mix of their energies and blend and start picking up on different personality traits. And that's just them letting you know that, hey, he's here too, or she's there too. Crystal had an interesting question. Crystal asked about signs or symbols. I think it was about, do symbols change?
I see.
I don't use symbols because I have a short attention span. So for them, it's like, no, you need to just communicate with me. In other words, talk to me, because I don't have time to learn symbols.
So symbols is a very common way that some people teach. I've never used symbols either. I tried to teach symbols. I've never used them, yet I tried to teach them, because it's a common thing. Look, if you're struggling, you can set up the symbol system, but it never worked for me. It really didn't, but not in setting up like a symbol library or a symbol book. But sometimes I will see a symbol. It's not one I've set up, but it'll be something that is maybe seemingly random. And one time it will mean something, another time it will mean something else. And I will just know, again, that's that translation due to whatever reading I am in. You know, a star might mean something in one reading and something entirely different in another. So that way, yes, absolutely.
All right. So we're coming to the end, and it's kind of a crunch because we'd have another show that starts, I think, a half hour after ours ends. So first, let's say thank you to everybody that tuned in tonight. We appreciate you being here. And again, this is just the start. Next show we'll concentrate more on readings. Today was more just like a reintroduction, I guess, if you will, and just wanted to chit chat with everybody and just kind of just create that Q&A kind of situation tonight. But we do plan on doing, readings. We also do private readings. We both have websites.
We do?
Go to my Facebook page, or Jen doesn't.
I don't have my website yet.
But they can find you through Facebook.
Yes. Or email mediumjlee@gmail.com. And I am working on a website. So
at least my links are on my Facebook page. So, well, Jen, do you want to do the honors of picking somebody to stick with us for after?
I knew you were going to do that to me. I knew you were going to do that.
Are you psychic?
I might be just a little bit. Yeah. So Kayla, are you still around? I'm drawn to Kayla.
Okay.
Oh, she's right there. Thanks again.
Yep.
Okay. Right there.
So Kayla. So yeah, we're going to read for Kayla after the show is over. So again, our next show will be 2 weeks from tonight. So public math, that would be the 28th.
So how do we explain to Kayla how this is going to work? We're going to pop a link up.
So Kelly's going to put a link in the comments.
Okay.
And Kayla, all you have to do is click on that link. And then you'll be brought backstage.
There's your link, Kayla.
So hopefully you're not camera shy. So, all right. So everybody else.
And to everybody else, thank you so much. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks on the 28th.
And we'll get busy doing some reading, huh, Michael?
Yes. So have a good night, everybody. Thank you again.